Edge of Darkness opens today. It's good to see you back in the saddle and doing what you do best. Thanks a lot for joining us, Mel. Take care.
Bye-bye. Asshole.
Man, oh man. Famous actors have no chill when it comes to humiliating woke Hollywood reporters. Think of sitting across from Samuel L. Jackson as he boldly dares a reporter to say the N-word out loud, exposing the media's tendency to dance around uncomfortable issues. Or picture Denzel Washington thoughtfully explaining why cultural understanding matters more than skin color when choosing a director. What makes these actors so adept at dismantling loaded questions and spotlighting media hypocrisy?
I want to applaud you for being so outspoken against violence and gun violence in particular. And you're Texan, and you spoke so passionately at the White House last year in the wake of that shooting at Robb Elementary in your hometown of
That's why we're
Uvalde.
wearing these little pens,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, your wife held up one of the victims' green Converse.
Reporters often try to corner celebrities into making controversial statements for viral headlines. However, some actors have mastered the art of pushing back, exposing media biases and reclaiming the narrative. From Matthew McConaughey's thoughtful rebuttals to Samuel L. Jackson's no-nonsense challenges, these encounters reveal how seasoned stars can turn the tables on woke Hollywood reporters. Matthew McConaughey has built a career on being thoughtful, calm, and measured in public discourse. His appearance on The View, while promoting his children's book Just Because, perfectly showcased his ability to deflect politically charged questions with poise and intelligence. The show's hosts, particularly Joy Behar and Sunny Hostin, saw an opportunity to steer the conversation toward gun control, an issue McConaughey had addressed following the Uvalde tragedy.
Do you think you could get elected in Texas being anti-gun?
Do I think I could get elected in Texas being anti-gun? One thing about if me in politics is to give you a direct statement right there is me playing a game that I'm not interested in playing. To give you a direct statement right there.
Behar pushed him on whether his stance on gun reform might block his potential political aspirations in Texas. Without flinching, McConaughey responded with a masterfully crafted answer. One thing about me in politics is to give you a direct statement right there is playing a game that I'm not interested in playing. He dismissed the trap with ease, leaving the hosts with little ground to push further. His refusal to engage in a polarizing debate while still making his perspective clear was a lesson in how public figures can control their narrative. McConaughey signaled that not every conversation needs to be turned into a politically charged debate. He showed that thoughtful dialogue can stand out in a media environment increasingly driven by soundbites and sensationalism. Instead of falling into the divisive trap, McConaughey reframed the discussion on his terms, showing that public discourse can be balanced, respectful, and productive. His ability to navigate such loaded questions without being combative highlighted his intelligence and understanding of modern media dynamics. His response resonated with viewers tired of celebrities being reduced to political mouthpieces.
The last thing I like to watch is entertainers or actors get political. It's just something I can't stand watching. So having said that, no, I was kind of asked to put it in context somehow with this movie. You know, my personal feeling is that there's a big difference between Fantasyland and reality.
Kurt Russell has long been recognized for his no-nonsense attitude and sharp intellect. His confrontation with reporters on the topic of gun control became a defining moment, highlighting the growing divide between Hollywood's ideological bubble and real-world perspectives. During an interview promoting one of his films, Kurt Russell was confronted with questions about gun violence and terrorism, framed to provoke a politically charged response. Instead of falling into the trap, Russell delivered a response that was both logical and historically grounded. He explained that the U.S. Constitution's Second Amendment was never solely about personal defense, but also about preserving individual freedoms, a principle deeply rooted in American history, yet frequently distorted in modern debates. Russell's refusal to conform to politically correct narratives resonated with audiences tired of Hollywood's one-sided discourse. His comments weren't defensive, combative, or dismissive. They were thoughtful, factual, and anchored in historical precedent. He made it clear that complex issues couldn't be reduced to simplistic slogans or partisan rhetoric.
In reality, when we're dealing with things like terrorism and whatnot, we're all going to have different opinions on how to do it and how to deal with it. Mine happens to be that I think there's a very strong reason Founding Fathers had for the Second Amendment, and that is that no government ever hasn't had to fight its own people, and its own people hasn't had to fight its own government.
By holding his ground, Russell demonstrated that public figures can engage in challenging conversations without sacrificing their integrity or yielding to media pressure. His ability to resist being manipulated into regurgitating familiar talking points highlighted his authenticity. He showed that celebrities can participate in meaningful discourse while staying true to their beliefs, earning respect from fans across the political spectrum. He also pointed out the disconnect between Hollywood's portrayal of guns in movies and real-world conversations about gun control. Russell explained that movies are works of fiction, where guns are used for action and entertainment, while real-life issues require a much deeper understanding. His thoughtful and grounded answers pushed back against the media's tendency to simplify complex topics into sound bites for public consumption.
So why did he need a black director? Could a white director not have?
It's not
produced this
color,
work?
it's culture.
Explain the difference, because I think we're in
Steven
a space
Spielberg did Schindler's List.
Mm-hmm.
Martin Scorsese did Goodfellas, right? Steven Spielberg could direct Goodfellas.
Denzel Washington is celebrated not just for his talent, but also for his wisdom and thoughtful insight. During an interview promoting his film Fences, Washington delivered one of the most powerful lessons on culture, identity, and representation. A reporter asked why he chose a black director for the film, implying that the decision was driven solely by race. Without hesitation, Denzel Washington corrected the reporter, stating, "It's not color, it's culture." He explained that culture is about shared experiences that transcend skin color, emphasizing that understanding a community's lived experiences brings authenticity to storytelling. He referenced specific cultural moments, such as knowing the smell of a hot comb on a Sunday morning, an experience deeply rooted in black culture but not necessarily familiar to those outside it. His words highlighted that representation is more than just casting based on race. It's about cultural nuance and real-life experiences that enrich a narrative.
We had white Jesus in my house.
You had white Jesus?
White Jesus. Mm-hmm. I remember my brother brought home a black Jesus. My mother made him carry that back outside because she thought it was being disrespectful. You understand? But that's fear of being who you are.
Washington's thoughtful response reshaped the entire conversation around diversity and representation in Hollywood. He stressed that lived experience and cultural authenticity matter far more than ticking diversity checkboxes or meeting industry quotas. His perspective underscored how Hollywood's attempts at inclusion often come off as shallow when driven by corporate mandates rather than genuine cultural understanding. By framing representation through the lens of shared cultural history rather than skin color alone, Washington delivered a powerful critique of Hollywood's surface-level approach to diversity. He reminded the industry that authentic representation requires a deeper commitment to understanding culture, tradition, and lived experience, not just meeting politically driven metrics. His words resonated far beyond the interview, sparking conversations about what true inclusivity means in modern filmmaking. By reframing the discussion, Washington steered it toward cultural appreciation rather than racial assumptions. His approach encouraged a more meaningful conversation about representation, one rooted in authenticity rather than corporate-driven diversity campaigns. His words resonated deeply, sparking debates about how Hollywood can better reflect real stories through genuine cultural understanding.
So there's been a lot of controversy surrounding the usage of the N-word in this movie, and
nobody, none. The word would be...
Oh, I don't want to say it.
Why not?
I don't like to say it.
Have you ever said it?
No, sir.
Try it.
I don't like to say it.
Try it.
Really? Seriously?
We're not going to have this conversation unless you say it.
Samuel L. Jackson has never shied away from confrontation, and his interview about Django Unchained stands as one of the most memorable examples of an actor flipping the script on a reporter. The film, directed by Quentin Tarantino, is known for its brutal portrayal of slavery and its unapologetic use of the N-word in its dialogue. Predictably, a reporter, Jake Hamilton, brought up the word during an interview, but with obvious discomfort. Hamilton referred to the term as the N-word, clearly trying to address the sensitive topic without fully engaging with it. Samuel L. Jackson, known for his directness, immediately saw through the reporter's cautious approach and dared him to say the actual word. "Try it," he said, locking eyes with the journalist. "Come on, say it." His tone was firm but not aggressive, making it clear he wasn't letting the subject be sidestepped. The tension was palpable as Hamilton visibly squirmed, nervously searching for a way to steer the conversation elsewhere without saying a word. His discomfort became increasingly obvious, and the interview grew more awkward with every passing second. Jackson, however, didn't let up, forcing the journalist to confront his unease about discussing such a charged topic. Eventually, Hamilton admitted he wouldn't say the word, conceding defeat in the most uncomfortable way possible, fully aware that Jackson had exposed the reporter's performative approach to the sensitive subject.
Why do you want me to
They're
say
gonna bleep it when you say it on your show. Say it.
I can't say it. If I say it, this question it won't make air.
Okay, forget it.
Okay, I'll skip it. Sorry, guys. It was a good question.
No, it wasn't.
It was a great question.
It wasn't a great question if you can't say the word.
Jackson's move wasn't just about provoking the reporter. It was about exposing how the media often treats controversial issues. Reporters frequently push sensitive topics for headlines, but aren't willing to fully engage with the complexity behind them. Jackson's challenge laid bare the performative nature of such interviews, where uncomfortable subjects are addressed only when it's convenient or safe. His response went beyond the specific incident, shining a light on how race and language are often reduced to buzzwords in the media. Jackson made it clear that if reporters are going to bring up sensitive issues, they need to be prepared to engage authentically, not hide behind sanitized terms or euphemisms. His stance forced viewers to reconsider how these discussions are framed, and whether the media is truly interested in meaningful dialogue or just fishing for viral moments. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.